So my craziest winter surfing pipeline, which is like the world's most deadliest, dangerous wave in the world, the most boards I ever broke in 1 year was basically in 6 months. I broke 26 surfboards at Pipeline. When I walk out in my backyard at Pipeline, sometimes I'm scared. Before I go to bed, I start thinking like, oh, it's gonna be gnarly. I don't want to die. And they're like, why am I thinking this? And I'm scared, but I'm like waxing on the board. I'm like, adrenaline's going. Like, I'm a risk taker. I'm ready to take the risk. I want to get out there, and like, I'm scared, but then I got to kind of come back to myself and go, hey, you've done this a million times. If you think you're scared, imagine what the other people are thinking. It's just like this mind over matter thing where it's like I'm always like kind of fighting with myself, even though like I paddle out there and I might be scared, and then people are like, wow, that's so crazy. You do that so easy. And I'm like, no, I was like scared.
Welcome to Mindset Win and our guest. He's a pro surfer. I'd call him adventure, and in his free time, he's definitely a bungee jumper and pro eyebrow shaver as well. Welcome, Jamie O'Brien.
Thank you so much. Yeah, super psyched to be here on the podcast. And it's crazy, our time differences. If whoever's listening and watching is like, it's like 8 o'clock in Hawaii and then 8 o'clock in, where are you
Germany,
guys?
yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
yeah, it's so cool.
But we're figuring it out, and we're so happy to have you. How is everything over there in Hawaii, where we're catching you right now in your garage, your playground garage?
Yeah, so we're sitting here at the man cave. It's middle of the summer here, and there's not too much surf, to be quite honest. The surf just kind of disappeared a few weeks ago, and it probably won't return until October. And right now it's kind of about just relaxing at home and recharging, and then jumping on airplanes and chasing swells around the world. So that's the goal here.
So good for us. You got a little bit time on your hands to talk to us, which is really cool. Let's dive into the whole surfing story, though, because obviously we're really excited to learn more about you and your surfing background. You grew up in the surfing mecca, as one could call it, Hawaii. Were you always destined to be a surfer, you would say?
You know, honestly, my dad, he had a vision, and the vision was that I was going to be a pro surfer, because when he was in his peak and his surfing element or whatever he was doing, he really liked the idea of pro surfing. But those days, like, you win a contest, you might win $1,000. Like, now you win a contest, you could win $100,000. So he liked the idea of just surfing, and I think he really wanted to give me this gift that he was introduced to, this beautiful sport called surfing. And I don't know, I honestly felt like he knew what he was doing with me. He was like, he's going to become a pro surfer. And I remember when I was 5 years old, he goes, Jamie, do you want to become a pro surfer? Is this what you really want to do? And like, I mean, you're like asking your kid this like question at 5 years old. And I looked at him and I go, yeah, I want to be a pro surfer. And it's been a pretty crazy ride, but like nothing but the best.
So what was it like for you as probably a 5-year-old to catch your first wave?
So honestly, my first wave was maybe it was like my third wave. First few waves apparently went all right. I don't really remember because I was like 3 years old, but I remember being 4 years old, probably 4 years old, and we were at this place down the road from Pipeline called Haleiwa. And it's the Haleiwa town. There's a beautiful wave there. My dad was working as a lifeguard there. I was like, oh, I'm going to take Jamie surfing right now. And like, they takes me out on like the lifeguard board where they rescue people. The waves are small. And I remember, him paddling in this wave. And obviously you trust your dad. And then I just started crying. And he was like, what's happening? And what he didn't really realize is that I was looking at the lava rocks on the beach that I would walk on sometimes and cut my feet up, and I was going straight towards the lava rocks, and I was like, ah, and I was like crying. I was like, no, I don't want to like go into the lava rocks again. I tried that, and then he was like kind of like, oh my God, I hope I didn't scare him. But it didn't really scare me. I was just like, at the moment I was scared. I thought I was going to crash in the lava rocks, but he like pulled off really calmly, and we went up and caught some more waves. And that was kind of like the beginning of an era right there.
Definitely. And when would you say did it become clear to you that you really wanted to become pro and make this your profession?
That's honestly a really good question because I feel like I had the idea when I was 5 from my father that he wanted me to be a pro surfer. I told him I wanted to be a pro surfer. Then it was like this whole thing of like, is this even a reality? And I remember this day, my dad got a phone call from Rip Curl, which is a surfing company, and they're like, they're always seeking out the next best kid, and somehow they called us, and I was like, no way. They're like Rip Curl wants to sponsor you. I was like, oh, that's crazy. And they want to pay you money, and you're like, and I'm 13 years old. I'm like 12 or 13 years old. I'm like, oh, like, whoa, like, what do I do? Like, so does this mean I'm turning pro? And like it was kind of really like the beginning of like my surfing career taking the next step forward because I got the confidence. Like I knew I was good, but I didn't understand like what they saw, and like it basically like I remember I think I signed this contract. It was like for $13,000 for a year, and I was like, oh my God. And my first thing that came to my mind, I was like, I could buy my own food. I don't have to ask dad or mom for food money, like, so I was like, oh, I'll buy my own food. Like, this is sick. And that was like
Like
the
the
beginning.
priorities.
Yeah. We got to eat because, we surf
Yeah.
all day. We're hungry.
Actually, I would love to come back to the lava rocks that your dad brought you to at the very beginning. That's just one of the risks that surfing is about, really. Do you think that you have to be like a person that's very open to risk or a risk taker even to be good at what you do?
I think one of the best things I've ever heard, and it was from a guy named Garrett McNamara, which surfs like massive waves in Nazaré, kind of like redefined surfing in Portugal, and like great human. He once said that, I take calculated risk, and the risks are worth the reward. So I think part of surfing and pro surfing and being able to put in those amount of hours that like really like turn you into another like this, like I don't even know, like sometimes I'm like, I don't know, how do I even do that? Like those hours that you put into the water are so valuable to the moment that you're very scared, but you trust your ability to survive. So I know when I go surfing that I know, like, I got to remind myself still to this day that, like, if I'm ever nervous, I got to kind of go back in the bank and go, you put in the time, you put in the hours, you've done this for 20 years, you got to apply. You know how to apply, because the mind's a very powerful place where it plays, like these little weird games with you. You go through injuries, you're super like psyched to surf. Sometimes you're super over surfing sometimes, but like I think at the end of the day, it's like the risk is worth the reward, and the ultimate risk is the ultimate thrill. It's a crazy thing.
I heard you say in another podcast, mind over matter. That's kind of your mantra or your motto. Maybe you can elaborate on that for us a little bit more, why that is.
Yeah, so like mind over matter to me is like, and I try to talk to my friends about this because I'm like, hey, like if you're scared, you gotta be mind strong. You gotta get through it. And it's like anything in life, right? Like, you get delivered a lot of surprises in life, but mind over matter. Who cares what everyone else thinks? It's putting yourself and your mind in the right place and focusing and zoning in on the task, and that's when we all as humans become superhumans. And like, it might only be for 5 seconds, it might be 10 seconds, it might, like, I feel like you don't get these like feelings a lot, but when you do, it is mind over matter. You go into instincts, you go into survival mode, but you go into what and believing in yourself, and that's a very powerful part of being a human is to find that inner strength that would push you through these crazy moments.
Do you have like tips or tricks how to get yourself into that zone, how to block out everything that could distract you?
To me, I kind of look at life. I'm like, I'd rather be weird than normal, So it's like, and then the weird to normal, is like I would rather like find those things in life that give me that adrenaline rush, but learn how to control that adrenaline for the time that I can get that adrenaline. And to me, it's surfing, it's fishing, it's like it's skydiving, like these things, and like certain things only last for so long. But the thing that I keep chasing with surfing is it's that one feeling where I'm like, I'm not gonna make it. I'm gonna make it. I gotta, and then that's where mine is like the strongest thing, because you mind over matter, and the timing and the placement and the calculated risk that you took, it kind of gets you to the result that you want, and then that builds your confidence to the next level.
So listening to that, I'm wondering now if your main motivation is that adrenaline rush, really, rather than success in any type of way. Because I was wondering what you do, or like how you speak to yourself once you didn't catch the wave, or once you didn't ride the wave the way you wanted to. But if your goal would simply be the adrenaline rush, it would, for me, change the whole approach kind of that you have to surfing.
Yeah, like it's hard to say. For sure, I'm chasing the adrenaline, but like when I walk out in my backyard at Pipeline, sometimes I'm scared. Sometimes, well, let's just start it from the morning. I go to bed. Waves are gonna be pumping tomorrow. Before I go to bed, I start thinking like, oh, it's gonna be gnarly. I don't want to die. And they're like, why am I thinking this? Like, and then like, you fall asleep. But before you fall asleep, you could hear like the windows going. They're literally rattling. It's like these little mini, like quiverly earthquakes that kind of like shake the ground, and it's weird. And you're like, whoa, it's big. But sometimes when it's doing that, it's not that big yet. And so then you wake up in the morning at Pipeline, at the 50-yard line, at the one of the greatest stages of surfing in the world, and you're like, whoa. It's kind of morning sickness. You make a lot of excuses, like, yeah, I'm gonna take my coffee. I'm gonna take the dogs on a walk. I'm gonna kind of get my day started. I'm not gonna jump straight out there before the sun rises. Like, want to let everything settle, and then you like analyze. And I have this one thing in my mind, right, from living at Pipeline my whole life. I see 3 sets, and if those 3 sets spit 3 times, which means that white stuff comes out of the wave and it just goes, I'm like, I'm out there. So I wake up, walk the dogs, drink my coffee, and then I look, and I'm like, 1, 2, 3, I'm out there. I just go straight downstairs, and I'm like straight on it, and I'm scared, but I'm like waxing on the board. I'm like, adrenaline's going. Like, I'm a risk taker. I'm ready to take the risk. I want to get out there, and like, I'm scared, but then I got to kind of come back to myself and go, hey, you've done this a million times. If you think you're scared, imagine what the other people are thinking. Like you think. I still deal with a little bit of this because I took this weird wipeout recently, and it's like it kind of tries to take me back there where I got scared, but then I'm like, I'm better than this, and like it's just like this mind over matter thing where it's like I'm always like kind of fighting with myself, even though like I paddle out there and I might be scared, and then people are like, wow, that's so crazy, you do that so easy, and I'm like, no, I was like scared.
Oh man. Well, I guess you make it look easy for sure. But you're looking at the three sets, deciding if you're out there or not. This is all free willingly today, but you used to compete for 12 years. Then you turned your back on competing in your 20s. What changed for you?
I think it's like a lot of like frustration and like, did I just feel like for the competitive part, like, was I good enough? Yes. Did I have the drive and dedication and the right coach? No. But I was still driven to surf, but all I wanted to do is surf good waves. So I think really like kind of looking back on my whole career, I remember, I signed with Rip Curl when I was 13. I won the Pipeline Masters, which is like the most prestigious event in the world still to this day. I won it. I beat Kelly Slater, Andy Irons, Bruce Irons, Johnny Guns, all my heroes. I'm like, at 21 years old, I'm going, wait, what just happened? Like, this is like astronomical. Like, it was like, I don't even know. I don't even know how to explain it. I was like, this really just happened. And then all the sponsors started looking at me like, oh yeah, here's our guy. And Rip Curl's like, we believed in you. This is it. This is what we saw. Like, all the dots were connecting. It was like the perfect storm. And for me, it was more like, it's like, whoa, that was sick. That feels good to win. But like, I was like, I don't really want to continue like competing, because I wasn't even at the highest level. I was still like a level below. Still, I'm like a level below now. But like, it was like, to me, it was like, oh, like if I want to get to that stage, I need to perform at a certain level. And I had a hard time because I'm a bigger guy. I'm like probably weighing 180 pounds. There's guys that weigh 130, 140. So when we go through Europe and we go to Brazil and we go to Australia, a lot of the waves are small. So it's like, it's hard for us bigger guys to have a lot of that technique. But when the waves get big, then we surf good. So there's like this, like, I don't know, there's like this weird thing. So anyways, I'm very grateful for the route I took. And someone once told me that if you don't continue this path, chasing the tour, chasing the dream, then no one could really judge how good you are in surfing. And I really like that how they analyze that, because I'm like, this is perfect. Like, now no one has to worry about how many titles will Jimmy O'Brien win? Will he even win one? How good is he? And then they go, goodbye, Jimmy O'Brien.
What changed for you? Why did you turn your back on the competition part?
Because I went from like making $13,000 a year to like making like $60,000 a year. I was like, but the thing is, at the end of the day, is like, you would spend $60,000 traveling to Europe and Brazil and Australia and all these places. Like, it's not like you're like pocketing 60K a year. Like, yeah, you could buy a car, you could pay for your food and your accommodation, but like, you're kind of breaking even at the end of the year. And I just didn't really like that. And then I was watching all these like videos of like, free surfers, like this guy Margo from, I think he's Australia or New Zealand, and like Bruce Irons. And like, I just really like that realm of like filming and creating and building content. And at that time, I was already doing that with my friends, and we would travel the world and we'd take turns like filming each other. And like, to me, that was like so cool, because I could study my surfing. And then I started realizing, like, I want to make a movie. And here's the crazy part. So this is kind of like the turning point from surfing contest to making videos. And I remember asking Rip Curl. I was probably 20. No, I was probably 19 years old. Me and my dad were like, oh, we want to. Well, I was like, Dad, I want to make a movie. And my dad's like, this is a great idea. But my dad wanted me to be world champion X, Y, and Z. He was pissed because I saw a different vision than he saw me going. So I was like, I want to be, like a free surfer. I want to film and make films like Bruce Irons and this guy Margo and Jack McCoy. Like, these guys make the sickest videos ever. And like, and that was like my mission. And my dad was like super bummed, because he's like, no, you're going to be a world champion. And I just remember talking to Rip Curl saying, hey, we want to make a Jamie O'Brien movie. And you know what they told me? We are not ready for a Jamie O'Brien movie. And I looked at my dad and I was like, I'm going to make it with or without them. So then we built and created it, and then we showed it to them before we released it. And they go, wow, this is beautiful. We would love to be a part of it, which, so grateful. And then that's really what kind of changed what I wanted to do. I loved competing at Pipeline for the time, but I also loved creating and building content, which leads me into this life that I am now.
What is it like for you to catch that pipeline to, feel whatever makes it so special for you?
To me, surfing is special because when I paddle out in the lineup, there's no phones. You kind of like go back to the zen of when you were a younger kid, and like, there's just no internet. There's no excuses. You're just out there enjoying Mother Nature. You're enjoying the fun. You're enjoying conversating with your friends. You're just out there. And I go out there, maybe that's why I really like surfing still to this day, is because I can go and find this happy place that I can't find, anywhere else. And like, yes, this is my job, but I go out there for 3, 4, 6, 8 hours at times, and I just enjoy it. And what I didn't realize is you're kind of getting away from the world, but at the same time, spending it with some, special people that you've spent a lot of time with in the water. So it becomes this community of people that you love spending time with, that maybe you don't hang out with your everyday life, but you have a relationship with the wave and the people that surf the wave as well.
Is that also why you started this new genre of free surfing, really, to make it more of what you just enjoy?
I mean, I felt like, like after releasing 3 movies, and then the biggest one was Who is J.O.B., then we kind of like really rolled into it. I remember Red Bull coming to us and going, hey, we'd love to do Who is J.O.B. 2.0. And then it was just like, I was like, whoa, like this is sick. They see it, they get it, and it was a great time. And for the social media platform, especially for YouTube and Instagram. But it was almost like vlogging before vlogging, and we started this series with Red Bull, and it was absolutely incredible. It brought to me so much joy, so much happiness, so fun to film and create and build content and have them believe in what I believe in. And it just opened up the floodgates. We're like, oh my God, the world's ours. We're about to, like we weren't even thinking of like the world's ours. We're like, oh my God, yeah, this is cool. Like we love filming. This is epic.
Oh man, and you really are creating this incredible content. I was watching, basically all the videos. An incredible amount of eyebrows have been lost throughout these series for sure. What about that?
It's kind of funny. So I don't know. I remember watching a video of someone trying to shave their buddy's eyebrows, and then our one of our buddies was very like gullible and like kind of slept on the heavier side, and we just went for it one night, and we got both eyebrows, and then it kind of just started this disaster piece of like, if you were sleeping around any of your friends, you're gonna lose your eyebrows. So it was really funny because the the expressions you get from people when they don't have eyebrows are so funny because you see a lot of expressions through the eyes and like how you're feeling and like like emotions, like they're like no emotions. And it made it funnier. So then we started throwing up big bets on the line, like if they're so confident in themselves and what they're doing, then like, hey, you could throw your eyebrows on the line, and there was many eyebrows lost.
So it definitely sounds like you managed to create more fun and more levity than you had during those competing years. How important would you say that this factor of fun is, in life as general, but also in order to be able to succeed at whatever you do?
Well, I think it's you want to do what you love, and when you're doing what you love, you're having fun. You get the opportunity to hang out with your friends a lot more. You get the opportunity to travel with your friends. So in the beginning of all this, I was really taken out of hanging out with my friends because I would travel without them because I couldn't afford to bring them. So when we started filming the series, they were like, hey, like we could bring X, Y, and Z. And I was like, this is great. Like, you want me to bring some characters on the show? Like, let's do this. And it's just fun, right? Because like life's all about making memories and creating memories. And then sometimes so much traveling takes away so much like time from your friends, and that's really hard, right? It's like that balance in life of so much traveling. Like, yeah, you get to meet new people, X, Y, and Z, but still you end up, coming home every summer, and sometimes you lose some friends, sometimes you distance from your friends, but like this gave us the opportunity to bring us all together, which was scary on the road.
How are you guys actually choosing your next travel destination? Are you just looking for the best, I don't know, skydive area or bungee jump or adventure and then just go trying to, make it as scary as possible and overcome your fears? Or what's the deal behind that?
No, I'm not like trying to make it scary. I look for a great wave, and then I'm like, okay, like yeah, like like I feel like surfing is like people like the idea of surfing. It's a beautiful sport, but at the end of the day, like if you're like the best surfer in the world, then like that's pretty cool. But is that relatable? Yeah, not really. It's hard to relate to somebody. And I have friends that are like, X time world champions, and like I have a hard time relating with them. But when we shave someone's eyebrows, or like pull a prank on them, or get to travel with them, or go bungee jumping or skydiving, or try and like teach someone how to barrel ride that never even rode a barrel, or they ride their biggest wave of their life on a floating raft. Like these are things that like the normal human could go, oh my God, that could be me. That's crazy. This guy's like, like I'm the mentor and like teaching them all my ways, but they're just the normal average Joe going into the world going like, you're kind of like questioning. You're like, how is this guy still alive? You know, and like at that point, I'm like, hey, I'm a stunt coordinator, and I'm trying to give my friend like, you know, calculated risks that I would take, and I feel the responsibility to let him take those risks.
So you feel like it's your job or your duty to give back to the community and be relatable and take everyone with you on this journey of life?
100% my job is to take people on the journey of their life and try and help change their lives, and also change their mindset on what they can and cannot do.
So we were kind of at the point of giving back to the community. And that is leading me kind of to your surfing school that you opened in Hawaii. Is that the same reason why you opened it?
You know, honestly, like it was like the perfect storm. I always wanted to open up a surf school. I always liked the idea of like, you know, teaching people how to surf and giving the gift of surfing to the world, because that's what my father did for me, and it changed my life. And I'm like, literally, like it was the coolest thing. Like my dad had this idea of like, you know, if we could keep their kids in the water, we can keep them off the streets, you know, like, and I really always liked that idea. And I'm like, this is great. You know, you want to keep the kids in the water. And I had this vision that I always wanted to open up a surf school. And I always wanted to be right and done a certain way. And that opportunity was presented, and we put our right foot forward. And I was like, there's no way. Like, it wasn't easy to open up a surf school. And we were like, if we ever open up a surf school, we want it at Turtle Bay. Like, this is like, you know, like it was like a dream. You know, you gotta, in life, right, you gotta set your goals like so high, and that's what life's all about. And you gotta like look at your goals and be like, I'm gonna achieve them one day. And that's like really the power, the mindset and the power that you have as a human is like, I'm gonna achieve this goal. And like, but then I started telling people like, oh, I'm gonna do a surf school, like, but this is like probably like 8 years ago. We opened the surf school like 2.5 years ago, and people are like, that's not a good idea. That's showing that you're settling down and you're planning for retirement. And I was like, no, I want to start a surf school now. And they're like, you're crazy. Like, this is a bad idea. I like it. I like the idea, but maybe like, you know, way later. But I was like, I'm starting surf school. So I joined forces with my best friend, Kaikea. The stars aligned. And next thing you know, we get a call from some of the higher ups at Turtle Bay. And they're like, hey, we would like to set a meeting at Turtle Bay. So we went to the meeting. And I brought my dad. I was like, oh, your dad, you want to come to this meeting? They're like, yeah, bring your dad. And my dad worked at Turtle Bay Pool as a bartender and a lifeguard before he actually got his job working as a lifeguard on the beach at Pipeline and Sunset and Haleiwa. And I told him the story about my dad working at Turtle Bay, and like, and he was there in like the 70s. So like that's super cool, right? It's like the full circle like goes around. They're like, dude, we love this. We actually watch your videos. Some of us are avid surfers. And I was like, whoa, that's so sick. They're like, done deal. Surf school is yours. You need to open in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
I know how to surf, and I could kind of teach someone how to surf. I wasn't really good, because like teaching someone how to surf is a whole different thing. Like my dad could teach me how to surf, and you know, and it's hard. It's hard. It's a special thing, and it's you know, respectfully, you know, it is a talent to teach people how to surf. So I had to learn the talent of teaching people how to surf. Like I'm good with people, but like teaching someone how to surf is a whole new thing. And we basically mastered it in 2 months, and you know, and then we took Storm, and now we teach thousands and thousands of people how to surf every year, and it's such a beautiful thing seeing the families come together and learn how to surf. You know, it doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. You know, we teach, you know, anyone from 3 years old to like 85-year old, you know, men and women. And it's like it's just so beautiful, so pure. It reminds me of like why I love surfing, and why I started and why I still surf, is to give the gift that my father gave me, that therefore Duke Kahanamoko gave to the world. It's so special.
It's definitely special. And I'm just thinking back to my like 2 tries at surfing, and I ended up with a black eye and never got back to it, actually, back at it. But you know,
Oh, I'm
that's how
sorry
it
about
is.
that. It's not,
Maybe I
that's
just
not how it is. So
shot how
our
it should
goal
be.
is at our surf school is we're going to introduce you to surfing, and it's going to be in a safe, fun way. And our goal is to obviously, like, it's a guarantee you're going to stand up or your money back. Like, it's more like we want to make you fall in love with surfing and let you understand everything about the ocean and all the surroundings and everything that's involved in with the ocean. And so you leave with, a lot of respect for what you just did, and you learn a lot about the ocean, and you learn you could trust the ocean, and you learn that you want to come back and do this again. So I'm sorry about your surf lesson.
Maybe I should come to your school and try again.
Please come. We're at Turtle Bay, Waikiki, and in Southern California at the Hotel Del. We love teaching people how to surf, and like a lot of people ask, like, is Jamie going to be there? Will Jamie be there? Like, honestly, like, due to like such a busy schedule traveling the world to create and build content, it is hard for me to be there. But I promise you, when I'm at home and I get a call from our managers at our surf shops, it's like this. Look, Jamie O'Brien Surf Experience. I'm like, yo, what's up? Hey, we have a guest coming in that requested. They wrote in the email. See, now I'm giving you secrets away. They wrote an email saying they would love for you to be there. And I'm like, home, 5-minute drive. I do it. I make it happen. High five them. If I'm not home, so this is the cool part. I hand sign. So at our 3 locations, we have different posters at every location. They're not the same. And I hand sign, X amount of posters at each location so they can, hey, sorry, Jamie's not here, but he hand signed this poster for you. So, so they get a poster. But there's also, do you want to FaceTime Jamie? So we have a little FaceTime station, and then like it's just cool, right? Because I see the FaceTime coming in, I'm like, bam, or I'm like, hey, 5 minutes, I'm like, bam, like, what's up? Talk to them for a little bit, get them psyched, say thank you for surfing with us, hope you're psyched, hopefully I see you in the water, X, Y, and Z. They can't even believe that they just got to interact. So it's like, how are we different from every surf school? This is what makes us different.
And you actually have really cool other instructors there as well, just as Victoria Fage, right? 5-time parasurfing world champion. So you got
Yeah.
the whole team out there.
Well, that's the thing, right? Is to us, surfing is everything. I have my friends work there. We handpick every single person that works there. They're lifeguard certified. They're CPR certified. We have the best equipment. Victoria is great. She's insane. We started a new program, where we could teach people with disabilities how to surf. We could take them out there and get them some epic waves. And we have a really well put together team to do these cool activations, because like to me, surfing is for everybody. And it was super cool that Victoria came to us and was like, she had a freak accident, but like there's still that love and that joy of surfing for her, and she still gets validated from, just she goes and gets barrels, she wins contests, she just loves surfing, and it's so sweet, and she's such a sweet person, and she came to us knowing that we love love to give the gift of surfing, and she's like, I think we can give a little more, and we're like, you're on the team, let's do this.
I was looking at the board right behind you, actually, in the shot. I saw that in one of your videos. You broke
Yeah.
your board surfing. How did that happen?
I don't even know. I just glad the wave didn't break me. But sometimes, I've actually, so my craziest winter surfing pipeline, which is like the world's most deadliest, dangerous wave in the world. I'm like, if you told me Nazare was, I would like to try and believe you, but the statistics are pipeline, straight up. Could do your research. But so anyways, break these boards. You basically pull into these waves, or you like take these big wipeouts, and you come in and your board just it just breaks, and you're just so bummed, and you're like, oh my God, I broke my board. But so speaking of this, so the most boards I ever broke in 1 year was basically in 6 months. I broke 26 surfboards at Pipeline. My shaper, still my shaper to this day, Wade Takoro, still believes in me. And I was like, oh my God, I totally understand if you're going to drop me. I broke 26 surfboards. Like, yeah, I wasn't paying for them, but he was making me these beautiful boards. Like,
Yeah.
it was a crazy year. And now, so the cool thing about surfing is like, you know, when you break a board, you're pushing your limits, and you don't make the wave. But the better you get at surfing and the more time you spend in the water, the more you understand and learn and X, Y, and Z. So I feel like I don't know, maybe I broke 3 to 5 boards this year. You know, I'm not like that. I'm not breaking 26 boards a year now.
How do you work yourself up? How do you get to understand all the elements that count that are important?
It's just time in the water, dedication, the love, the passion, the friendships, the connection you have with Mother Nature, the positive energy you bring into the world. It's just it's all positive. It's just I don't know. It's super special. Like I said, like you leave your phone and you're gone. Like that's not normal these days.
It's not. You mentioned earlier, as we were speaking about the broken boards, about pushing your limits. Tell me more about how you're pushing your limits and what does it like, what it means to you.
Well, pushing my limits to me, what it means is that I'm kind of validating myself that I could still do it. I'm validating myself that I'm good enough. I'm validating my skill level, is where my mindset is, you know, because you need to connect all the dots when you're surfing, and you know, you got to validate yourself. You got to build yourself up. You got to stay strong. You got to stay calm under pressure. So it's like there's all these things that kind of come into it, and like I ain't gonna lie, I get scared. I feel like I might almost drown, but I'm not gonna go in and tell someone that I almost drowned. I feel like I fight with a lot of these feelings, and you know, on some of the heaviest days of your life surfing, and when sometimes you're the most scared is times that, you know, you're living the most. And I'm not saying like live life on the edge 24/7. You know, you got to take calculated risk, but understand, you know, is the risk worth the reward? And understand, by putting as many hours as I did into surfing, then you will understand, you know, the power of the ocean. And you could never win, right? It's Mother Nature. So I take my calculated risk. Very grateful for all the things I've achieved as far as in my own mind, because I think about things weird, but I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, oh.
What does that mean? You think about things weird.
Well, I came up with this idea. I'm like, okay, guys like big wave surfing. They're very serious surfers, but I'm like, okay, like I like big wave surfing, but I'm not like super serious about it. Maybe for a couple of years I was, but I was like, how do I like do the same thing they're doing, but on a raft or on a giant surfboard with 8 of my friends? I was like, I kind of want to just like mess with these guys a little bit and like give them, you know, a little taste of their own medicine, because they're like these big, serious, like gnarly big wave surfers, and I'm like, and I respect that 100%. But I was like, I feel like they were taking the fun out of like a sport that you should be having fun, and like, yeah, for sure, you should like get serious and like really like get your ducks in a row and get nuts for the big swell, but like I'm always like I remember there was multiple years that I rode the biggest wave I rode the whole winter, which you always remember the biggest wave that you rode all winter, and it was like probably for 5 years off and on, or maybe more. It was on a massive 15-foot inflatable surfboard with 5 of my friends, or it was on a freaking tiny raft that you tow behind a boat, and we're towing in on jet skis, or we're hand paddling in on this massive raft. Like it was kind of chaotic. I was like, what am I even doing? But like to me, I was having fun.
That's so interesting, and I loved how you said you're trying to bring back the fun to, you know, something that has gotten so serious where you actually should be having fun. Is that also why you burned the rule book, the surfing rule book?
I I burned the rule book because I always thought there was like no rules in surfing, like, right? Like, I mean, there are rules of etiquette and respect, but there's like, who's to say that this is a rule? I mean, I guess, you know, I don't know. This might sound weird to the viewers or the listeners. Is that like, it's like when you go to Germany, right? You could drive the Autobahn and you could drive as fast as you want, right? Is there a speed limit on the Autobahn?
In certain areas, there's no limit. That's
Yeah,
correct.
so it's like, you know, there's certain areas you could push your limits, and there's certain areas you can't. In surfing, like the only limits you're pushing is you know, to where they allow it, and like there's you know, there's rules, you know, but like honestly, I think, I'm not like speaking across the whole board, like, but rules are meant to be broken. Like, you're going to break rules in your life, whether you turn left and you didn't put your blinker on, like, blew it, but like, I just looked at surfing like there shouldn't be too many rules here. Like, there's surfing etiquette, and there's like understanding Mother Nature and like a little bit, but like they just make up all this stuff, and then they make us want to believe what they want us to believe. So to me, surfing was this outlet in my life where I'm like, I'm gonna go out and do whatever I want and however I see. And people definitely spoke upon things that I did, and maybe things I did were wrong at times, but like I just looked at like Mother Nature and the waves as a canvas to how I wanted to write my own book or how I wanted to do my own story, like being born and raised on the beach, like you look at things a little different.
I understand. That could maybe be a final shout out or a final, message to anyone listening, if you had one. If that was, yeah, don't follow too many rules. Add more fun to whatever you're doing.
Just understand your surroundings. Understanding the surfing etiquette is very important. It is the most important part of surfing, and understanding who's in the lineup every day. And besides that, just go have fun. Kill everybody with kindness, and live your life and enjoy it. And some people won't like it, some people will, but everyone has their own voice, everyone has their own opinion, and some people love it, some people hate it, and just we're all so different. There's so many people out in this world, and like I just think you'll live a better life like that.
So, Jamie, it was recently announced that you're going to be induced into the Surfers Hall of Fame, which sounds very exciting, but maybe you can share with us what it actually means to you and if you feel maybe proud or especially recognized in this way.
Yeah, honestly, I saw that. Thank you so much. And we got this random email, and it was like we thought it was like we thought it was like a junk mail or something. I was like, oh, I don't know, it's kind
Oh
of
my.
weird. But to me, when I understood what it was, and being invited to the Hall of Fame, I was like, oh my God, like this is almost like like this whole life and this legacy that I got to live, to be a part of this was like I wouldn't even like, maybe for a second I was like, oh, that'd be cool. And then it wasn't even a thought in my mind. And to be involved in the whole program, I'm in disbelief. I can't even believe it. And it's just such a special part of my career and my legacy to be remembered in surfing forever, whether it's, through my videos or, at Huntington Beach, you see the Jamie O'Brien hands and the footprint that I left in surfing to me is very special, and I want to uplift people and keep people psyched and keep people, I don't know, entertained. Like, I'm just so glad that I'm so grateful that they thought of me, and it's a dream come true. I'm tripping out. I was like, some of my friends have been there and done that, but like when it's actually you, like, whoa, this is real. It's super cool. I'm blessed. Thank you for everyone that's like ever even maybe even considered, or whoever was involved. Like, this is something I had no plan, or this is out of my hands.
Sounds so cool. And you just said legacy. What would you like your legacy to be like?
I'd like my legacy to be, giving the gift of surfing to everybody, but then also giving the choice of what you do, whether it's you're competing or you're creating and building, surfing content or whatever you're doing in your life. Just know there's not one way or one right way to ride a surfboard. There's not one right way to, film and create content. Be yourself, be unique, and do it how you want to do it. And that's how, you will succeed, by being yourself.
Jamie, and we can't wait to see you guys out there doing the things you're doing, inspiring and, bringing fun to everyone out there. Thank you so much for your time. This was great. Take care and hopefully see you soon at your surf school.
Yeah, let's go. Let's all go surfing. And yeah, thank you so much. Great time speaking to everyone. And yeah, psyching.
Thanks again to Jamie. This was so much fun. And speaking of fun, I definitely have to bring more of that into my own life. That really inspired me. I'll be back on Thursday with York to chat about my talk with Jamie and see what we can use in our own lives. And who knows, maybe I'll try surfing again. Remember, you can always get in touch with us either by dropping a review or comment on whatever platform you're listening, or drop us an email on mindsetwin@redbull.com. Also, go and check out the full video on our Mindset Win YouTube channel because obviously you don't want to miss Jamie's cracked surfboard. Thanks again for listening, guys, and see you back on Thursday.